Lots of people are saying that the kids are much better behaved after dinner once they've had something to eat.
Not surprising, really.
No, it isn't.
Common sense.
Well, it is, yeah. And they want scientific proof. What reckon
What?
this?
People are hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous.
Okay, we in record.
We're recording.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're in the papers. We're here to review the news this week.
Yeah.
And we've got a few papers here. Rob, do you want to stick up your paper? Let's have a look at the headline. This says, "We only want the bloody seniors off," or something. To blow the bloody seniors off. This is the Sun talking about the Rock of Gibraltar, which is, of course, a protectorate of the UK at the moment. Norm, what have you got on your headline? And
Well, on the
what have we
front
got
of
there?
this thing, well, this is all about the dead wherever you looked in Syria after they, put that gas stuff down.
Chemical weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite controversial, of course.
It's a bit naughty,
Yeah.
isn't it? All these parents losing lots of children.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the headlines on The Guardian this
Yeah.
day and age.
Now in probably the only paper that actually produces anything called The Truth these days, Private Eye. The headlines here on the front page is Boris Johnson on top of a tank, again rather spoofingly trying to protect our interests in Gibraltar, with the line at the bottom, "Inside, Britain declares war," which of course is a play on words.
One way to get their attention.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can see that the national press have its usual range of responses to world affairs. One of the things that caught my eye was in here in Private Eye. There was an article about money laundering. Would anyone like to explain to me what money laundering is?
Yeah, well, it's where a group of people, usually either associated with terrorism or with crime, earn some money, and it's not legal. That happens. They then need to make that money legal, so then they use things like offshore accounts, of which the UK has got loads of places that they can use to do that, and a lot of the money can go through the City of London. And of course, one of the reasons why the Brexit thing was driven by so much money in this country, people trying to get us out of Europe, was because the City of London did not want to take on board the new regulations that the EU are putting in place to try and stop the laundering of money. That's one of the reasons why, because actually they make a lot of money out of it.
Oh, they do. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's interesting. I think that's what Private Eye was talking about, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So the process seems to be, this is interesting, the process seems to be around the money laundering issue is the first thing you do is you escape from European regulations.
Yeah.
And one way to do that is to leave Europe, right? So now you don't have to worry about what the Europeans are saying, because
Yeah.
the Europeans are actually passing new legislation to make money laundering more difficult.
Yeah.
So that means our offshore protectorates, which are places like Gibraltar,
Yeah.
the Cayman Islands, that's one of ours.
Another one of ours, yeah.
Yeah. Any others that we know about? Virgin Islands, are they ours?
Virgin Islands, I don't know if they're ours.
Yeah.
I think they might be, but then there are other places where things are set up.
Falklands?
Yeah.
Do they do money laundering at the moment? They probably don't, but it's probably something they could consider in the
There was
future.
all that stuff in Panama, wasn't there? That company in Panama was doing loads
Yeah.
of money laundering and
Yeah.
hiding away accounts as well. So it's not just places that are British protectorates, there's other places as well that are being used, and other companies that are being used that would have been much more difficult for them to do that
Yeah.
if we were still in the EU. Give it another year and those regulations would have stopped a lot of that.
Yeah.
But now, of course, it will continue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We might actually expand, because what they're saying in here is that what are you going to do with these protectorates if they can't launder money?
Yeah,
Then they'll have to be funded directly by the Crown,
yeah,
us.
yeah,
probably.
us, yeah.
Yeah. And we ain't got any money, so we're not going to do that.
Well-
So the only way out is really for them to expand their current operations, which is money laundering.
Yeah.
Money
Which
laundering.
makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah.
But you also that means you accept this idea that we ain't got any money, which is wrong.
I know.
This country's got tons of money.
Yeah.
You know, this ludicrous thing they've been putting across for the last few years about austerity and why we all need to save money and all this is complete nonsense. That's not the way that this country has been run up to that point. And this the whole thing is being driven by the politics of it. That
Yeah.
they just want to smash the people who were poor. You know, that's what they. Yeah, so you know, there's all this austerity thing is about putting stuff on the poor people to try and pull them into line. That's it. You know, they don't want people who who have got different ideas, want to work in different ways, and all the rest. They don't want those people. They just want to. They want to make sure their lives are a misery, and that's
What do you
exactly
reckon,
what
Norm?
they're doing.
What do you reckon?
What about the laundering?
Well, it's about compliance, really.
Or just about
Getting
bloody
compliance through
capitalists in
austerity.
general?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it always seems to me that they always want to earn money, regardless of how they earn it,
Mm.
and keep the poor downtrodden. Really,
Yeah.
don't give the poor much money. Hence the NHS, and now
Mm.
I've been reading about the doctor's surgeries having to close because they can't really afford it.
Yeah.
So and then you've got these, what I consider to be criminals, of making all this money
Mm.
out of laundering it, and getting away with it, and we all know it's going on, and yet no one wants to do anything about it.
You know, these papers talk about all this stuff. You know, you very, very rarely do you see anything in these newspapers saying, "Do you realise that loads of your taxes goes towards the landlords in this country who get all the money from housing benefit?" And the reason for that, one of the things that's happened there is that whole setup has driven a huge rise in rents for poor people, and it's to the extent now where people cannot get out of rented accommodation and buy a house.
Yeah.
They can't do it because they haven't got enough money left after they've been paying their rents.
No, sorry state of affairs, I would say.
So the taxpayer is paying landlords.
Yeah.
That's not in your newspaper anywhere. No one's putting that in there.
No. Too much interest, I
Too
reckon.
much interest.
Self-interest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But Rob, you were talking earlier about plastic.
Oh yeah, well that's one of my pet things is the environment and the way we're poisoning the seas with all these different plastics. They're even in things like toothpaste now. They put little plastic
Feeds.
beads in, which
Yeah.
are supposed to polish your teeth. And
What's the
then
point of that?
Shower
they're
gel.
supposed to act as
Scrub.
a kind of
Scrub.
scrub on your teeth.
Right.
And then of course